Afternoon, professor and class. My name is Kiara, and I want to talk about voting the right way. Here in America, voting is seen as a privilege, and that privilege was not always extended to every citizen, such as women and Black Americans. Now, more than 50 years ago, that did change, and we are seeing more women and Black Americans vote. It is still not extended to every citizen, such as felons, those who do not have their American citizenship, and those who are not registered to vote. Registering to vote is one of three ways that you can be an active and informed voter. Also important is knowing your voting location and hours, knowing your candidates and their issues, and being present on election day. And those are the things that make you an active, informed, and efficient voter. Knowing where to be and when to be there is the first step in being an active voter. First thing before going to the polling location is registering to vote in your county. It's simple as going to your county website and looking up the voter information to register online. You can also call your local election center and register over the phone. If you're already registered to vote, keeping your information updated is just as important. If you've changed your name or your address, it's important to update that online or again call your local election center, as when you show up on your voting day, if your form of identification does not match that which is on your voter's registration card, which you're given at your first day of registration, it can cause a delay in voting. Also important is knowing your voting location and hours. These location and hours vary through the early voting period, which is a 2-week period that Tarrant County voters, or just Texas voters in general, are able to vote at any voting location, which can be upwards of 200 locations that are open for the 2 weeks that no one has to go to a specific location. Their hours vary, so it's important to look this up beforehand. On election day, every voter is required to go to their polling location, which they are assigned to upon registration. So all that information is on your local website for you to know where to be and when to be there. Knowing what you stand for and who supports it is an important step to being an informed voter. Knowing the issues is now easier as candidates are putting their platforms and what is important to them on their social media, on their websites, through press conferences, and even rallies that are becoming more prominent here in the States. In February of 2020, Texas Tribune released a article about how now more young Texans are being pulled to register to vote as the candidates are helping start these initiatives that reach out to high school students and for them to register to vote. That's an important part because our young people are now able to register to vote at 17 years and 11 months. So the candidates are reaching out at an earlier age for them to know their platforms and to see what the people are passionate about and how they can align their platforms to that. It's important to know what you're already passionate about. If you know what issues that are close to your heart, it's easier to find a candidate through their platform and through their rallies and conferences that match and align your passions and that you can feel comfortable in casting your vote for them. They are an extension of how we are having our voice heard, and locally, federally, all of these things, as we have local elections for our police chief, our our school administration, then we have president and Senate seats. All of these things are important for us to know what their offices are running for and what their platforms are and see how they align with us. 1/3 of US voters don't know what the candidates are standing for. That is not a good way to be an active and informed voter, as again, it is an extension of what you are passionate about as an American and having your individual voice heard and having your country affected by your passions. Being active and actually being present is one of the most important things of on election day. Again, here in Texas, we have our early voting period as well as our election day. These things vary. So again, going back to knowing your hours is important, as early voting is different than election day, as we have our assigned precincts on election day that we can only go to Also, encouraging other people to be informed is part of being efficient and active as an American voter. We want to encourage other people to have their voice heard just as much as we want ours heard. President Franklin Roosevelt said, "No one will ever deprive the American people of the right to vote except the American people themselves, and the only way they can do this is by not voting." If you don't vote, your voice is not heard. So, knowing where to vote, knowing what you stand for, and what candidates are going to be an extension of your voice, and showing up on the polls is a way to have your voice heard and not to be silenced. These are the ways that you can be an efficient, active, and informed voter. Thank you.